Hello there and welcome. It's Psychic Cynthia here, Spiritual Psychic Cynthia Killian. And a shout out to all my fellow spiritual psychics, to all of you healers out there, to all of you who work in the realm of light-based business. Um, whether you do that through healing, through psychic readings, through your creativity, um, or maybe through movement, music, or working with crystals. There's many ways that we can work in a spiritual based business. And you might even say that any business can be spiritual based if approached with a spiritual consciousness. But my area of interest and knowledge is in spiritual based business, just straightforward businesses that are based in spirituality. Um, and what I'm logging on to talk with you today about, or just to sort of explore really, is this idea of charging what you're worth. Have you heard that? Have you heard that you should charge what you're worth, right? I mean, maybe you haven't heard that yet, but if you haven't, you will. And I'd like to explore that idea and why I don't necessarily go with that exactly, but I go with something different. And listen, if you're pressed for time, just let me summarize here real succinctly. I'm not against charging what you're worth. I'm definitely for that, but the problem I see with that is that, like for me, I feel like my readings have helped my clients so much. I don't just feel that. They tell me what a change it's made in their lives and transformation. So I really can't charge what I feel it's worth because the number to put on that would be almost limitless. Okay, you get what I'm saying? Like, what if, yes, you can take materials. Let's say if you make jewelry and you can figure out what the cost is, that it cost you to, for materials, but what you do could be worth so much more than that in the currency of the universe. Okay, so big problem I see with that, charge what you're worth. Well, what if what you're worth is limitless? Okay, so just right off the top, I would say what I sort of advocate, instead of just charging what you're worth, I mean, you certainly should not charge less than what you think you're worth. If I don't want you to feel bad about what you're charging, but what I believe in, or what I practice actually, is believing in what you charge. So you should be able to believe in what you charge for your spiritual based products or services. You should be able to get behind that number. In other words, it should be something that you can feel good about, or at least decent about. Again, you should be able to get behind it energetically, emotionally, and it should be something that you're not hopefully embarrassed about. And it also should be something that you don't feel is greedy, too, on the flip side. So, yes, charge charge in your rates a number that you can get behind. That's what I would recommend, just very simplistically here. And I might add, there's a lot more to what you charge than just what you feel about it or what you think. Remember, you are marketing and selling and offering your gifts, your services to other people. So obviously how they feel about what you offer is going to be part of this co-creation dance, okay? And one of the things I've learned from my business mentors is, you can ask your people, if you're first starting out, your friends, your relatives, maybe if you already have a few clients, you can ask them, what would you be willing to pay for a service like this? Or do you have friends? You can ask your friends this. Do you have friends who buy blank? Do you have friends who buy, psychic readings? Do you have friends who buy crystal jewelry? Do you have friends who buy, Reiki healing treatments? If so, what do you think they're willing to pay? I mean, you can do a little market research on that, so to speak, just informal. And I think that would be something good to consider. And that way you're not setting the prices and your rates in a bubble. You know what I mean? And another thing that is always good to do on a practical level is to get a feel for what others who do similar work as you, what are they charging? And yes, of course, we're all unique. You are completely unique. You know, every Reiki person, for example, is completely unique because you bring your own personal style, your own vibration to it. But it's still good to see, what other Reiki people in your area are charging, or even nationally, if you do distance work. Uh, and that gives you sort of a baseline to work with energetically. And not that you have to charge what everybody else is charging. Um, I certainly don't charge for my readings what other people in this area, there's many other people who offer readings who don't charge the same that I do. But that being said, the few people that there have been that I would say read at my same level, in other words, with my same experience, which is multiple decades, with a proven track record that I have of really helping clients transform their life, even in this area, and there aren't a lot here just because there aren't a lot of people here, okay? I'm not saying that there isn't talent, there is. It's just that we don't have that many people here numerically. But whether it's here or anywhere else, people that have my same level of experience, same level of results, I've noticed they do charge similar or more. Okay, and that's going to bring me to another point, but before I go there, if you're just starting out, okay, all you need to know is to charge something you can believe in. Don't sell yourself short. That's true. I mean, if you find out that, everybody else, doing something similar to what you're doing is, say, charging, I don't know, I'm just going to make up a number here, $75, don't feel like you have to charge $35 just to undercut them. Now, if money is not an option, or excuse me, not an issue for you, if money is not a big deal, because let's say you have a really good job, that you're only doing your work part-time, this spiritual based business, that's only part-time, and you make, good money from your other work, or maybe you have inheritance money, or I don't know, somehow you got stocks, bonds, investments. Let's say that you're set financially, and at least for right now, and you don't really need to worry about making money. Then I think it's okay to actually charge a little less. In other words, if you want to be generous in your pricing because you can, I think that's okay. Actually, I think it's always okay to be generous, actually. And that's what I'm going to get to next. But maybe when you're first starting out, you have to learn to believe in yourself. And so it would be good to get a feel for what, some of the others are charging around you, and make sure you're not selling yourself short. And hey, listen, one good way to tell that you need to raise your rates is if your clients start tipping you a lot. And actually, I'm really talking to myself as much as you right now, because I've been having that happen, and I haven't raised my rates in probably over 10 years. They're good rates, but I haven't raised them. And yeah, my clients keep tipping me, so it's probably a sign I need to raise my rates. Or I could just leave my rates the way they are and let them keep tipping me, and I might be okay with that. And that's where this is, subjective. That's the thing I'm saying here. Charging what you're worth, it's subjective. It's what you feel you're worth. It's also what other people feel you're worth. Now, listen, if you feel you're worth something, other people will respond to that. I just want to say that. And that's where saying to people, charge what you're worth, that's a good thing to say to somebody who needs to hear that, who needs that. They need to get raised in self-esteem maybe. And maybe you're there, right? Maybe you need to believe in yourself some more. Because it is really hard to attract, paying customers or clients or people who want to be in your circle of currency. It's hard to attract those people if you don't value you, if you kind of think low of yourself. Now, on the other hand, I've seen some people really, get to where they think maybe too high of themselves and, kind of get very egotistic. And I don't think that's good either. I do actually know of people who do work, like let's say with my astrology readings, they do similar type of astrology readings, but probably not as in-depth and maybe not quite as good. I mean, good is subjective, I understand, but definitely not as in-depth. That's not subjective. And I know that some of these people charge 10 times more than I do. Actually, that is a fact, okay? I've researched it. And so I'm a better value, right? That's what I'm saying. So I love the idea of being a good value for my clients and my customers. I love the idea that, there's a feeling that I want to have when I deliver a service. Yes, I want to charge what I'm worth, but actually, I just want to charge something I feel good about and something that I can live comfortably off of. Now, I live very modestly, extremely modestly, and I do that on purpose so that I don't have to charge gigantic rates. I know that I could easily, charge more for what I do, uh, but I have chosen to kind of keep it in the middle, not too little, but not too much, because that's the other thing. The more you raise your rates, which is great for some of you, some of you should do that, but just consider that, let's say if your rates are in the six figures for a service, then you're only going to be working with people who can afford six figures, um, which is going to be, a more limited part of the population, which I think is beautiful if that's what you're called to do. But maybe, maybe you're called to work with a broader, audience, like I am at this time. And this might change for me. I don't know. It might, because I know that we're always growing and evolving. But, I like to work with people from a broader audience. Yes, I can work with the people who, earn large incomes, but I can also work with people who earn middle incomes. Um, so, yeah, that's, something you might decide in your rates. That might be more for as you progress, okay? But, it is more complex than just charging what you're worth, because that is so subjective. And again, I could not put a number value on what the readings that I do are worth. I think they are priceless. I really truly do believe that. And even when I do try to put up a number value, it's quite high, and it would be prohibitive. I mean, I wouldn't be able to work with that many people if I charged that, because there aren't that many people that have that much extra income. So instead, this is what I wanted to share before I end. So instead, what I try to do, okay, in addition to charging something I can get behind, a number I can feel good about, and a number my clients can feel good about too. I like to charge, whatever I charge for, and I have different services at different levels, I will say. But, especially for my standard services, the stuff I do the most, those readings, and those programs, I like to think that whatever I'm charging that person, whatever my rate is, I am planning to deliver 10 times more value. Okay, pause for a minute here. So what I'm saying is, I am charging actually, only 10% of what I think it's worth, because I want to give, more, more, 90% more. I don't know if that math's quite right, but it's close. Okay, I'm not a mathematician, but you get the concept that, I'm charging this one number, and I'm going to give my clients and my students so much more value than what they thought they were going to get. And, maybe things that aren't mentioned on the website, or just, being able to go that extra mile. So that's the way I approach my business, because I enjoy my business. It's a spiritual based business. I consider this as part of my spiritual path. And, I can feel good about that. I still make decent enough money. And my clients can feel great about that, because, wow, they're getting more than what they thought. So that, to me, is a win-win for everybody. Now, I realize that won't work. This idea may not work for everybody who's just starting out. I think it's a goal to strive for. I mean, charge whatever you want, but then aim to deliver 10 times more the value, or more. Okay? If you do that, this kind of gets into another issue, but if you do that, you will rise to the top of your field. You will at least rise to a high enough level where you will stand out. Anybody who delivers that kind of excellency, that kind of care, will always find a home. You will always find paying clients, and you will probably be tipped, and your clients will probably buy a lot of what you offer, and it could be a long-term, beautiful relationship for you. So think about that for long-term, and I just think, charge something you can get behind, okay? Alrighty. hope this gave you something to think about, and I'm sending you many blessings on your path of your spiritual based business. I'm sending good vibes for you and your prosperity and hoping you do quite well with it. Until next time, I'm Psychic Cynthia with my cat Ramby here, and we're signing off. Bye.